Today's lesson is how to solve equations. We first talked about the 5 steps that you should use to solve any type of equation. The first thing we're going to want to do is to distribute. Remember, when you are distributing, that you are looking for the parentheses. So we're looking specifically for parentheses. If there are not any parentheses, then we're going to go on to step 2. We're going to collect like terms. Remember, anything that has the same last name is a like term. So numbers are like terms, 2 and 3 and so on. If we add an x, though, to the 3, now they are not like terms. These are not like terms. But if I add an x to the 2, now we are like terms. Once I have all my like terms collected together on both sides, I'm going to get all of my variables to one side. It doesn't matter which one, and you'll see that I'll move it from one to one side or the other as we go through our examples today. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to undo all of our addition and subtraction by doing the reverse. That means if I see addition, I do subtraction to get rid of it. And if I see subtraction, I do addition to get rid of it. And the last step, we're going to go ahead and undo all of our multiplication or division with its inverse. They are inverses of one another. So division will undo multiplication. And that's the one that you normally see. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at example 1 that we saw in class today. Here is our equation, and they want us to solve it. We are going to go back to the basics, and so the first thing that I would do is I would take that equal sign, and I'm going to draw a line through it. The common mistake that I see is that we don't move from one side to the other. We like to stay on one side, and then our equal sign just kind of disappears, and that's going to get us into some big trouble. So I have my left side, and I have my right side. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be looking for any distributing. Remember, distributing gives itself away by seeing parentheses. I see no parentheses in this problem. So I'm going to go ahead to step 2, which is I am going to go ahead and collect my like terms. Now on the left side, the like terms that I see are going to be the 5 and the 7. Now, notice with the 7 that I also circled the minus sign in front of it. That's because I need to think of this as 5 minus 7. That's what I would put into my calculator. That's what I'm going to put into my brain. On the right side, my like terms are going to be the ones with the x's. So I'm going to circle them with a different color. If you don't have color, remember you can use a different symbol, like you could box them up. All right, so on the right side with the pink circles with my x's, just remember that I am thinking of this as 4 minus, and there's that invisible number 1 there with that negative. So it's 4 minus 1, and then the x is going to tag along with it. All right, so I'm going to put the 4x first. And then 5 plus negative 7, or 5 minus 7, is negative 2. My equal sign is staying right here on my line. On the other side, I'm going to add together the pink ones. Well, I'm going to combine them. 4 minus 1 would give me 3x, and then the minus 2 will just tag along. All right, now we're on to step 3, where I need to get all of my variables to one side. So I'm going to grab that pink. Here are my variables. I need to take these 2 variables and I need to get them to one side. It does not matter which side you move it to. Some of your algebra teachers might have told you always move it to the left. Some might have said always move it to the right. What I like to do is I like to look at these 2 circles, look at these 2 pink X's, and which number in front is smaller. Well, 3 is smaller than 4, so I'm going to take the 3 and I'm going to move it over here. And I'm going to do that by doing the opposite. So minus 3 and the x. The x always has to tag along with that 3 because I'm not just moving the 3, I'm moving the whole thing, the whole term, 3x. There we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract 4 minus 3. That is 1x. but the 1 doesn't actually have to be there. This is a -2. Both of these need to move down. This is a whole term, and since I did not eliminate the negative, the minus, it has to come down and change from subtraction to a negative sign. That's what it's doing. All right, remember that 1, it doesn't really have to be here. This one, it doesn't have to be there. It can be invisible, much like it was right here. So all I have to do, I can actually, I'm going to go to step 4 where I'm going to undo my addition or subtraction. I see the subtraction. We're always working on the side where the X is from this point on. Steps 4 and 5, we always work on the side where the variable is, where the letter is, and in this case it's X. So I'm going to get rid of that -2 by doing +2. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other because that's what the rules say. Remember that 1, it can disappear, it can become invisible, and -2 plus 2 is 0. I don't have to do step 5 because my number in front of my variable is 1, which can be invisible. This is my answer. Remember, you can always go back and check your answer by simply substituting in your answer to both sides and seeing if it is equal. Let's go ahead and take a look at example 2. Same thing, I'm going to follow my 5 steps, and you're going to actually see all 5 of them in this one. So let's start by drawing that line through the center. It really is quite helpful. And step 1, distribute. Do you see the parentheses? I do. There they are. So that means I'm going to take this -2 and I'm going to multiply it to everything inside the parentheses. So take your -2 and multiply it to everything inside the parentheses. If you do nothing to a side, if you do not change a side, you simply copy it. -2 times 1, the first parenthesis is -2, and the second arrow, sorry, not parenthesis, arrow, the second arrow, -2 times -7 is +14 and the letter N. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to collect my like terms. I have to do this side by side. So I'm going to look here on the left side and I'm just going to look at the 2 terms. There they are. Are they like terms? No. Most of the time, if you only have 2 terms on a side, they're probably not going to be like terms and they're not going to be able to be combined together. Let's take a look now at our right side. This is the one that we have to look at, and once again, I only have 2 terms. Since the -2 does not contain the letter N, they are not like terms. So let's move on to step 3. I need to get my variables on one side. So let's go ahead and I'll use this color. I'm going to highlight them. You're going to see that I use a lot of color. It really helps me see the math. Okay, so I have to take these ends and get them together on one side. Remember, it's solely my choice which one I move, but I like to move the smaller one because then I don't have to worry about a negative. So I'm going to go ahead and take the 5 because 5 is smaller than 14, and I'm going to go ahead and subtract it. What I do to one side, I must do to the other. I'm going to bring down the 34, and I'm also going to bring down this -2. And then I'm going to go ahead and actually do 14 minus 5 for the next step. So 34, my equal sign is always right where my line is, -2, and positive 14 minus 5 is +9, and the N is going to tag along. I'm going to go ahead and keep highlighting that N until it is completely gone. Okay, so until it's completely alone. That's the last time that I will not change its color. Now I know that I need to focus on the right side of my equation, this side right here, and I need to undo the addition or the subtraction. Now this one is quite tricky because I see a plus sign, but what I actually have to move is this guy right here needs to move over there. Since that is a -2, I'm going to have to go ahead and add 2 to make it move to the other side. which gives me 36 when I add it to the 34, and of course I just bring down my 9n. Notice that my n this time is not alone. It doesn't have that imaginary 1 like it did in the last example. So I am going to go ahead to step 5, and I am going to go ahead and undo my multiplication or division. This is multiplication. In between the 9 and the n, remember there's hiding that sneaky multiplication. So to get rid of it, I'm going to go ahead and divide by 9. This is going to give me my variable n. What I do to one side, I must do to the other, and 36 divided by 9 is 4. There's my final answer. I can go back and check in my calculator by changing all the letter n's to the number 4. So I could do 5 times 4 plus 34, hit enter and see what that says, and negative 2 parentheses 1 minus 7 times 4, close up my parentheses, hit enter, and see if I get the same number. All right, last equation for today. Let's go ahead and see if we can go through it a little bit faster. So I'm going to go ahead and drop down my line through my equal sign. I do see the parentheses, so I am going to go ahead and I'm going to have to distribute. Now, when I distribute, this one's kind of tricky. I have to remember that there is hiding in here a negative 1. So I'm doing negative 1 times 7 and negative 1 times negative 4. So it's going to give me negative 7 plus 4x equals 9. I have to go ahead and collect like terms. Remember, you're looking on the left side and you're looking on the right side. Look here at your left side. There are only 2 terms. Since the second term contains the variable or the letter x, they are not like terms. You cannot collect them together, which means you actually cannot add them. On the right side, there is only one term, the number 9, so there's nothing to add or subtract to it. Let's go ahead and get our variable on one side. So let's go ahead and highlight our variable in a color. Notice this is the only variable. It is already on one side. There is nothing with the 9. It's the only pink X. So we've already done that step. Let's go ahead and focus on our left side where our pink X is, and let's undo our addition or subtraction. They're making it tricky for us again. I see addition, but this is what I need to move over there. So I'm actually going to add 7. So that one is tricky, ladies and gentlemen. Bring down your 4x, and 9 plus 7 is 16. Highlight that X one more time because there's still the 4 hanging out in front of it. Remember that it's hiding the multiplication. So to undo your last step, undo your multiplication and division with its inverse. They go together because they are inverses. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide by that number. And 16 divided by 4 is 4. Good luck on your Schoology assignment.